All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a audio and visual check. How's everybody doing? No $5 tonight? Nope. I double checked. To make sure everything was working beforehand again. Good morning. Good morning. All green. Wow. Yeah. What a day. I didn't trade today. I did not. I had my trades on last night and everything worked out. So there was no need for me to trade today. But yeah, it was such a bullish day. Give me a moment while I get a few things set up on my end, and then we'll get started. So give me just a moment. And here we go. So as always, in the YouTube chat, you guys can see there's our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything we say and do is for educational purposes only. This is not a signals class. You all know that. Yes. How was your trading day? The bulls absolutely killed it. I mean, I could probably find a better word than that, but they did really, really well. And let's get to it. So we'll go through our regular rapid fire. We'll review all these markets, NASDAQ, crude oil, Nikkei, and we'll finish it off with gold near the end of the session. And yeah, we'll see if we can find some trades tonight. He was up 500 today, solid $200 day. We did it. Great work. Yeah, this isn't a 8 mile. That trade last night, the trade last night worked out pretty well. So I think that showed the power of, oh, where did my, well, my slow market, I think I made too much money in that one account, the slow markets account. Let me see what happened. Yeah. Perma-bear blew the account. That's what happens. I might have to set it up in one of my XFAs. These are new XFAs, everybody. New XFAs for me. So, had your best day ever, 4,900. So, yeah, that was just it was just my regular coach's account. I can't get funded with the one for my slow markets. Let me see if I could get that one active. Let's see. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, here we go. 1 second. There we go. Let's do it. Yeah, that trade we placed last night together as a group for educational purposes only was purely for education. And I think that showed the power of slow markets. Like, that's my favorite thing to do. You guys witnessed it. If you guys were here last night, everybody who was here last night seen it. I had Coach Jay on with me. It was a great evening. We, Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday was a little bit slow, but tonight or last night, and then maybe even tonight, it's a little bit better. There's going to be a lot more opportunities going in tonight. So where were we at? Let's see the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. Actually, let's do it daily. Let's do the daily, and let's start from the very beginning. So pretty straightforward kind of a day, right? Where we broke through this consolidation range. We basically broke through it last night, and it was a trend day. It was. We came right back up to these, 20,200. This was the next level that we were watching. You could see it was a pretty obvious level up here around that 20,200. There's a lot of support and resistance up here. And we did reject off of that. That's something I'm going to be talking about. I like that we rejected off of this resistance because, maybe are we setting up for a pullback and then maybe an opportunity to buy it to either retest or break out? And if we do break out of this, then, maybe there's an argument to be made that we start looking for all-time highs in the NASDAQ. That would be interesting. So, I like to see that rejection, even though I am a bull and, markets do not just move straight in one direction where, yeah, of course, if you were long and the market just blew through this and went up to like 600, that would be amazing. But markets do not move in a straight line. And yeah, this is a lot of resistance. The next question that I am going to be watching is, do we come down and test this? Do we come down and test where we just broke out? Where if we get a deeper pullback, this was resistance. Will this resistance become support? Not sure. If we do get down there, then of course I'm going to be looking for opportunities to buy the market to see if it can become support. Now let's move into an hourly chart and we could talk more about it. Yeah, consolidation, you can see it a little bit better here on an hourly chart, and you can see what a wild run overnight. That was quite the move overnight. If you guys were joining me last night, you've seen that trade that we set up and we placed. It was a long. We ended up getting in long. I don't know what price. Let me look at the 5-minute chart. But essentially, we were playing the long side. Yeah, here it is. Here's the 5-minute chart. It was right down here. This is where we were buying. Coach Jay and I, where we sold off. We got that 3-bar reversal. I should have had my stop loss at 676, but I closed out early and immediately just completely rallied overnight. Like that was, over 100-point rally, and then just continued to higher lows, higher highs, and just go straight up and to the right. What a move. What a move. But the trade setup last night was simply a buy stop at 740. A stop loss, I think it was a stop was at 640. And a take profit up here, I think it was at, was it 840? I think it could have been 840. So I think the profit was like right in 840. So that was the trade. And we set it up here. It ended up getting triggered in, and it filled. I mean, this was a picture perfect trade where it's a nice 1-to-1. And, when we were setting this up, the question that I first was asking is, based on that higher time frame chart, was, was it realistic to get more? I mean, yeah, with hindsight, we could have got maybe a 2-to-1 or, a 3-to-1 risk reward, but I don't know if that would have been a hard trade to hold for a 3-to-1 risk reward overnight. But we would have got it. We would have got a good 3-to-1 risk reward getting in long on this type of setup. But we settled, a good 1-to-1, and everybody's seen it. That was the power. This is markets like this is what makes me such an advocate for slow markets, where we can place trades like this. We could go to bed and let the market move. We do get volatility overnight, whether it's the Asian session, London session, or pre-market. I mean, that is the London session, before the New York session anyway. And this is kind of the opportunities that you can catch. And then you wake up in the morning and you are in such a great position, right? You wake up. Who doesn't want to wake up with some money in their pocket, or wake up with money out of their pocket if it's a loss? But still, the idea is the same. Being able to place trades, set them and forget them, let the market do its thing. So where are we today, and what are we looking for? Let's take a look at the hourly chart here in the NASDAQ. And that was kind of a textbook move, where very simple, very straightforward. We broke through all of this resistance. We broke through all of this resistance. And basically, we didn't really stop until, basic 20,200. So this was a interesting level, and we rejected off of it. We are now pulling back, and this is quite the pullback, to be honest. It's almost 200 points. Yeah, almost 200 points worth of a pullback. So do we pull back to some type of a support zone? That would be the next thing I'm watching, right? Will this become support? Possibly. It looks like this was a major support and resistance zone before. And so realistically, this can become support. It looks like as we start to zoom in, there was some resistance and support there during the pre-market and the opening of the New York session. So are we going to see something like this where we come down here, we find some support, maybe we consolidate for a bit of time, and then we look for some entries to the long side to see if we come test these highs and maybe even break out? This is the first thing I'm going to be watching, is looking for a pullback and looking for an opportunity to buy a dip, buy a pullback. Is it going to be a pullback to 20,000? Are we going to break through, maybe see something even lower? I wouldn't even be surprised if we pull back down to 19,900, somewhere around this level, because as we start to zoom in, you'll see it in a 5-minute chart as well. There was a little hesitation down here. It'll be interesting to see, because there's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of just complete selling. Let's take a look at the 5-minute, and maybe that will become a little bit more clear. So yeah, you can see there's some support and resistance right here. Obviously, it's a big round number, 20,000. 20,000 is a huge number. Psychologic, everyone's going to be watching 20,000. Sometimes the market acts like a magnet. It sometimes acts like a magnet to where price hovers around big round numbers, whether it's chop, whether it acts as support or resistance. Whenever we're around big round numbers, obviously when we first got to 20,000 today or overnight, you can see it kind of chopped around there. We broke out of it, came down, tested it, went down below it, and it was kind of there for a little bit. And as soon as we broke through, it was off to the races, it looks like, during the New York session. And now here we are again, we're approaching 20,000. So are we going to continue down and maybe see another test of 20,000, or are we going to find support here? If we do break down, I wouldn't be surprised if we come and test maybe somewhere. Oh, come on, let me get these drawing charts. Maybe somewhere around this level. This would be an interesting level, 19,890s to 19,900. This was the top of the FOMC candle, right? That's the top of the FOMC candle. And this is basically where we started to break out overnight. So yeah, there could be some unfinished business down here. One thing to note is that during the New York session, we did have a little bit of a sell-off, right? We had a little bit of a sell-off, immediately found buyers right here at 960s, and then that's where we started the rally. So I don't know, it's gonna be curious. I'm gonna be watching this for sure. I'm gonna be watching it on, for example, like an hourly time frame, and maybe I look for a 3-bar reversal on an hourly time frame. Yeah, I would say a 3-bar reversal on an hourly time frame could be a decent way to go. I mean, and it depends on what kind of a reversal, right? Zooming in here, you can see on the hourly chart we're starting to see some indecision, some consolidation in this area. I'm kind of just tempted to get in long here, to be honest. Let's go. I'm going to just jump in. Let's take a look. OPEX may get weird. We have Bank of Japan news. Is that what traders are saying? I'm going to go ahead. Just going to hop in with a micro. The more I look at this, the more I'm liking it. And yeah, let me walk through the reasons why. So we've had that sell-off. We've seen it, and we looked at it at an hourly candle, right? And yeah, based on the hourly candle, we're starting to slow down. We're starting to see some more buyers step in around this level. This was also a nice little support, a resistance zone during the New York session, during the New York session open. And I could probably zoom in, but you can see there is some hesitation here as well. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised maybe if we do sell off. I'm okay with adding to this position. This might be one I end up holding overnight again. Last night I held some longs overnight. Maybe tonight I even hold a few longs overnight as well. I'm not opposed to that. I'm gonna get rid of that. Get rid of that one. I still have that on there. Get rid of that for a minute. yeah, let's see. Let's watch how this goes. I'm going to start off with 1 micro. I'm going to actually put just a stop loss in there. Worst case scenario stop loss, just in case something dramatic happens. And let's see. Let's see if I can scale into this. I'll be okay with scaling. This is a 5-minute. This is a 5-minute chart, and I'm starting to see this consolidation. This is good consolidation for me. I like that we just kind of, we didn't really have any follow through down there, and we're starting to see some buyers step in tonight. So let's see how it works. That's just in 1 micro. I probably could have just got into more. I'm gonna watch it. I might scale into this one. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to crude oil, and then we'll continue to talk more about the NASDAQ. Because I have a lot more that I want to talk about. The daily Delta says exhaustion wick. Yeah, there's going to be a lot that I want to talk about that trade. But let's keep going on. Let's talk about crude oil. So crude oil, come on, where's the hourly chart? Crude oil, hourly chart. Well, we are holding above $70 a barrel. Very classic move from a technical standpoint, where we did just break out at $70.50. And when we broke out, we started to consolidate. This was resistance. Resistance is becoming support. So breaking out, this was resistance. Resistance became support. We've rallied up all the way up to, what is it, 71.52. And now we're starting to settle off a little bit. Bullish crude. I am bullish crude, just obviously based off of the current price action. And maybe what a decent thing that I'm seeing here is buy the dips, right? Buy the dips until it doesn't work. This is a very simple, very common thing that you see in markets a lot, not just in crude oil, is when we start to do this, or when the market starts to do this particular thing that you guys could see, then yeah, it's simple to say, we're looking to sell it as we come to the top of this range or this channel, or as we start to sell off, then maybe we could find some buying opportunities down at the bottom of this channel. And this one might be lining up pretty well with $70 a barrel. So if we do get to $70 a barrel, then that could be an opportunity to look for some longs, right? Looking for a reversal pattern, looking for an area of opportunity, vice versa. Maybe you're looking for a short, right? Then you would want to think of the opposite, where if we do start to break this trend line, then maybe look for opportunities to get in short and the continuation down and holding below maybe $69 a barrel. Yeah, I would like to see some longs at $70 a barrel. I'm being honest. I would be okay with that. And this might be a slow markets trade that I talk about later on. So hold that to me, everybody. I'm liking a possible opportunity in crude oil overnight, and that could be one of them. Take a look at the daily. Ooh, good call out there. Yeah, this is something that's probably that is definitely weighing on crude oil, right? Look at this. Support. Is this support going to become resistance, right? So good shout out for that, where we are retesting this. Will this support become resistance? Not sure. So that is something to keep in mind. That's actually causing a little bit of hesitation for me getting into the long side. But if we do break through, maybe we could make a run for $75 a barrel. Maybe we can make a run for maybe 73. 73, there's a lot of some hesitation right there. 73 first, and then 70, 75, maybe 76. So good shout out on that. That's something that we should pay attention to, right? Where we might be focused like that. I was focused on the hourly chart. Sometimes it's nice. You do need to take a step back because you might not see everything. Let's take a look. NQ's moving. I'm going to add to this position. do we want to add here? I'm going to add. There you go. Let's see. I'm most likely, I am perfectly going to be okay. I'm okay scaling into this down to here. My ultimate stop loss, I think, will be right there. That's going to be my ultimate stop loss below this candle. And so let's talk through this. Let's talk through this one because I think this is going to be important tonight for everybody. Let's talk about this NASDAQ trade. Why am I liking the long side? And this is not a signals class. Let's just talk about managing a trade. Let's talk about managing a trade, managing a stop loss, managing risk, looking to how do I personally, and maybe answering some questions because I know this could bring up a lot of questions because this is a little bit unique. Because I know a lot of people are going to have questions. And I'm starting to see them come. Why not wait to 20K, high probability retest? Why don't you? I mean, there's a lot of ways we could go about this. So my stop loss is going to be at 956. I'm risking about $310 right now on this trade. So I'm a pure technical trader. And you guys see me each night. Let's walk through this trade. I'm going to go one by one or slow by slow as we just did. So on the daily chart, we know it's very bullish, right? Because I want to point out a couple more things. We're pretty bullish on the daily candle, on the daily chart. After yesterday, we had this huge move today, overnight mostly, and then some during the New York session, and we bumped up against this resistance. We didn't quite make it to the tip of this one. We didn't quite make it to that one. One thing that maybe some are watching is, is that something, right? Maybe that might play, maybe that will play an effect or a fact on how some people are seeing this resistance. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I'm going to pay attention to that. However, after a move like this, if we do get a pullback, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to enter into the trend, right? So as we have seen this before, let's look at the middle of August. Rally, a pullback. You can see this pullback. I mean, this is intermediate because it's a daily chart. So this wick was a pullback. And then a rally, and then a pullback, and then a rally. And you see this all the time, even on the downside, right? I'm horrible at shorting the market, but sell off, pullback, sell off. So if we zoom in to a hourly chart, you can see it. You can see it a lot better. And I'm going to move to this. Okay. So a rally, pullback, and so forth. I think this is a better example that we've seen on August 15th, where it was a very strong rally. And then after that rally, it was, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. So that was 6 hours of complete selling. And we could even do this. I'm curious to see how this will come into effect. Let's measure that. So how big of a pullback was that? And let's see how that compares to what we've seen today. I'm always curious to measuring these moves, right? So that one, I measured that one a little bit off. That's close. That's close. So you know what? Maybe we're not finished pulling back, and we could see maybe even a deeper move right around that 20,000 level, and I could continue to just check these measured pullbacks, right? When we are rallying, how far do we pull back? And you guys see me do this quite often. And let's do another one. Let's just do another one just for the heck of it. So making sure we're getting these measured moves. And let's see. Pretty dang close, right? You could say I'm a little bit early. That's fair. It looks like one of them was about right there. The other two that I measured was closer to man, how weird is it around that 20,000 level? But we're about there. I'm not going to be very picky when it comes to, oh, I'm not going to wait for the highest one, right? I mean, you could, but we're getting close to the end of that. And once we get near the end of this move, then I look for some type of a technical pattern. Like, well, could we see a 3-bar reversal? Could we see some support and some buyers coming in sooner than expected? Sure. Because if, historically, we go through and look and see what these pullbacks have been, you can make a decent argument to say, okay, well, some of these pullbacks, I mean, look at this one. That wasn't much of a pullback. Well, that's right there, right? That's a little bit more shallow. And after that, we pulled back from 19,400 and we shot up all 300 points. So that could be a pullback, and you could go through and measure them, and it really is how you want to interpret the data. So yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it, and the way that I like to manage this trade is, how do we get in, right? How do we get into this position? How do we manage risk? And can we build a position? And what I like to do is, sure, I'm going to start right here because I've seen some support on a smaller time frame. I'll review that in just a minute as we start to zoom in. And then I want my stop loss down here below this main candle because I've seen this to be a decent stop loss. I'm risking $310 on it now. I would love to add if we do start to sell off a little bit more and consolidate. Yeah, I'm going to add. If we do get down here and I see something set up, then I'll add to this. That's the beauty of micros as well. And I'm going to be looking for a play. Maybe we can make a run up to 20,150. Maybe we look for a run to these highs. I'm not sure. That's what I want to go over tonight. So let's further dive in depth of this trade. So I'm in long at, what is this, 2033. What I like to do now is I'll zoom into the 5-minute. What I was looking at, and this is why I like the long. We came and we tested it, and we failed to get follow through. So we failed to break down. So that is what I like. I like that I'm seeing a lot of these wicks here. I'm also seeing a little bit on this part, and then I'm also seeing some support and resistance around this level. Now it's a zone. It's not an exact one. And I'm happy with this position now. However, if we do sell off and maybe we get down to, there's my stop loss. My stop loss is below this candle. You can see that there's some nice support here. And I like a wider stop loss, especially when I'm trading micros and when I'm looking to hold a trade for a bit longer. So that's why my stop loss is there. Now, I'm not going to move my stop loss. I will not move my stop loss. However, if we do sell off and we get down closer to 20,000 and we get down to maybe this level and we start to see some type of support or 3-bar reversal, maybe we even get down to this level, right? There could be an argument if we get down to 20,016 where there could be some reversal. We don't know what the market's going to do. We do not know exactly where it's going to go and how it's going to react when it gets there, because anything can happen, right? But what if we do break down and we start to consolidate and then reverse? Then yeah, I'm going to add. This is actually looking pretty dang good. There's even an argument for me to add as we break out. So I could very well be okay adding to this. We're basically consolidating. This is looking like a flagging pattern, right? This is a flagging pattern. There's an argument to be made to add as we break out. And so adding, getting into, say, 5 micros or your full position size, whatever position that you're looking at as well. So I like it. I like this a lot. The first area I'm looking at is going to be right here around these 20,071s. These 20,071 is going to be the first one I like. So there's definitely a reason to put a, oh my gosh. Let me get back in that. That was, I literally just put sell. That was a market. Sell market. Ugh, that was dumb. Well, we all make mistakes. That's supposed to be a sell limit. Come on. What did it fill me at? Did that fill me at 43? Get me back in at 43. No. It filled me at 44 and a quarter. So as long as I get in at 44 and a quarter, I'll be happy. Let's see. Watch this thing's gonna rally now because I accidentally closed out of one of these positions. Well, whatever, it is what it is. Let's see if I could get back in if we find some type of a pullback. Dang it, I was in a groove and I just messed it up. There we go. Get in. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Okay. Everything's right. Everything's good. I got in a little. Did I get a better price than what I got out? Hopefully I did. Let's see. Let's see. I think I did. 43. No. That was canceled. So I got filled at 44. Yeah. So I made a point. I made a couple points on that mistake. Woo. Sometimes that happens. Let's see. But anyway, where was I at? Yeah, anyway, like I said, there's an argument to be made to adding here, looking for this to be the bottom. And it just depends on what your risk appetite is. Right now, I'm risking what? I don't know, $323. I'm not looking at it from the point, it's purely based off my risk management. $323, that's about where I want to be. I'm going to be okay if I add into another one. I like to risk between $375 and $400. So if this gives me an opportunity, yes, I will add. I will also find opportunities to limit risk, because the first thing I do when I get into a position or when I'm looking to trade is I'm looking at risk. Risk comes first, always. Risk management. How am I going to be managing a trade? How am I going to be getting in? How am I going to be getting out? I'm always for micros when managing, especially when newer traders that are looking to become profitable or take their first payouts or just learning micros. I will always say and talk to those and reference it. Or trade small, right? I like micros when it comes to scaling in, scaling out. You could also just use, say, one mini if you want to do that. Just one in, all out. Anyway, that being said, let's talk about how I want to manage this trade. And maybe we just talk about this for a lot longer. So if you want me to see any other markets, just let me know. I'm going to talk more about this and this in this trade in particularly. It's going to be... This might go in depth. Are you guys okay with me going in depth? Because sometimes I lose people and they have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. So let me know. Take a look. We'll go through some other markets if we get a break. But regardless of what market it is, it's the same process. It's the same exact process. Okay, yeah, you could pretend this is gold. You could pretend this is whatever market you want. It's the same exact process. Okay, so whatever it is. Where did my XFAs go? I showed everybody last night. They transferred those balances to live. They transferred it to live. So I started some more. Started some new ones. Last night worked out pretty well on Nikkei. You can see I made some money. I made 10K last night on Nikkei. So anyway, let's finish going through this because risk comes first, and then I can start talking about profits. Okay, I'll talk about profits in a minute. Risk is first, profits later. So anyway, there is my stop loss all the way down there. It seems very wide. It seems very big, and a lot of traders will say this. They're like, "Wow, you're risking, what is that? 80 points." 80 points. I'm like, yeah, I don't mind risking 80 points. I'm only in 2 micros. The reality is I'm risking $323, so that's within my risk parameters. Now, I need to make sure that I'm going to be looking for at least a 1-to-1 risk reward. So 1-to-1 risk reward. And let's start talking a little bit about profits, making sure that the risk reward is in line and that I get at least a 1-to-1 or better, depending on your strategy. I always go for 1-to-1 or better, preferably the better. So the first area that I'm looking at to maybe take a little bit of profits out is going to be right here, right at 20,070. Now the first thing I'm seeing is that's not 1-to-1. That's actually the opposite of 1-to-1. What is that? That's 1-to-2 in the opposite direction. So that's not great. That's not what I'm liking in terms of a good risk reward. However, that would be a reasonable target. And the only reason it would be is if I move my stop loss, right? So if we do start to break out, then I could say, okay, we're breaking out. I am now going to move my stop loss up below this pivot. And so I'm okay with moving my stop loss here if we start to break out and get towards this level. Then, since I moved my stop loss there, I'm okay with taking 1 or 2 contracts off or a position of this off, and then I'm going to be in a really good position for a risk reward. The next area for take profits that I'm watching is we had some support here and support right there around 20,093. So very realistically, I could look to take profit, say at 20,092. And then another level would be, say, right here, just looking at these levels, right? Just looking for areas of support and resistance for some take profits. And then where I have this one, and even if I do decide to have a runner, because we could very realistically have a runner, we could even have a runner all the way up to 20,200. And maybe we even don't put a take profit, right? So if we do not have a take profit, it's okay. Leave a runner on. And if I didn't have a take profit last night, that trade I set up, yeah, sometimes you can have markets like last night where if you don't have a take profit and maybe you have one take profit to close off a portion of your position, and then you let one contract run, you could catch a really nice move. You guys see on the Topstep top 10 and yesterday's best, some traders, some of the amazing traders here at Topstep and that I see in general, they leave a runner on. They just have a stop loss, they have a position, and after they closed off some of it, they just let one run. They say, hey, this market's going in my direction. Who am I to call where it's going to end? And it rallies. Choppy stream, indeed. Okay, let's take a look. Let me see. I'm checking it on my end. Let's see. Give me a moment. It's not on my end. Look, it's definitely not on my end. Okay, let's test. Can you guys hear and see me okay? I want to make sure. We should be better. I mean, I'm not having any issues with the internet on my end. Seems good now. Yeah, internet's fine. I don't know why. Put another quarter in. Oh, man. Come on, guys. Come on. Anyway, what was the last part? What's the last thing you guys got? Did you miss everything? You're good now? It was, but not anymore. I clicked on I refreshed the stream. Okay. Seems good. Not sure what that was. I do everything in, if you guys didn't notice, I have the 1440p option that I do it in, and never had issues with the internet. Yeah, and you're choppy, good. Okay, good. As long as we're up and going now. So anyway, like I said, if we do start to break out, then I will start to move my stop loss. I could manage risk. I could change my position size. There's a lot that you could do as traders with the tools of micros and management. We have so many tools and resources to manage trades. Man, you guys are making me lose focus. I'm reading all your guys' comments. Yeah, internet's the same. 4K. 4K. Yes. Yes. Good. Downloading music. Yeah. No. Anyway, let's get to it. I'm actually going to see if we could break out. If we do, I'm going to just get into a good position here. But anyway, as I was saying, we have the ability to scale in here at Topstep, and we have the ability to scale in and scale out in any way that we please. And I love that, where I could get into two here. I could add some. I could even add while it's going down to a level of support. I could add while we're breaking out. So like I was saying, I mean, that is trade management, right? Pure trade management, where if we start to break out, then yes, I'm all for moving my stop loss down to 20,020. And then this will allow me to increase my position size, because instead of risking 300, I'm only risking 68. And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to do that. I'm going to add to this. I'm going to add. Let's see if we could get into a position. I'm going to probably just go like this. Let's see if we can add while it's going in my favor. So now I'm only risking 120. I'm going to watch this. I will consider keeping my stop loss up here, because now if I have my stop loss down here, that's a little bit more than what I'm willing to risk. Usually I only like to risk, like I said, 375 to 400. That's $96 more than what I'm willing to risk. I can make an argument to move my stop there based off of this, but I don't like that. Maybe below this. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any other good area stop loss areas other than there. Other than that. So I think this is going to be fine for me. Risk 120 bucks. I might move it just below those highs. 140. And so what I'm thinking through is, you see these highs that we made? Having it just below those can be good. And then, of course, below that pivot. Let's see if I could build into a position here. How do you have the money amount show on the chart like that? I change it every once in a while. I think it's chart settings, right? Dollar ticks percentage right there. Yeah, that's, somebody said that. I shapeshifter trader, tight stop is better, like you said, all the time. You can just re-enter if stopped out. Yep. You pay attention. I love it when I see traders that pay attention. That is the best. Tighter stop is, and I hope if you guys notice that, right? Whenever you have any question of where to put your stop loss, like should I put my stop loss down here? Should I put it here? Should I put it here? Sometimes it's better just to keep it on a tighter stop. And then if you do get stopped out, then you can always make that decision to get back in the trade. Get back in the trade if you do get stopped out. So like, say it comes down and it gets stopped out, and then we do end up getting down here. I could get back in that trade and then have my stop loss down here. So good call out on that one. As you can see, I was being a little bit indecisive, and I ended up going with the tighter stop. Why not add now? Because I want to add when it's going in my favor. This would be adding as it goes against me. I want to add if we start to break and go up. Yeah, so adding as we're going out. Just let's zoom in. We'll zoom in and see. And I don't mind moving these down. You can see this is on a 5-minute chart, but I've seen this enough that you could see these little pivots on the smaller time frame. Right there. Add as we go. Adding now is okay. I mean, it's just so many times if I add while we're going against me, this could very well continue to go through and break down and break through this. I'd rather just add as it's going in my favor. But only risking 114. 114. The only thing I don't like about having tight stop losses during the Asian session is this, right? If you were buying on here and then your stop loss is here earlier, if you were buying in this zone and your stop loss was at, say, 20,030, you just got stop hunted right there. So you just got stop hunted, run liquidity, and now we're consolidating again. So a lot of times, you know, yeah, and I don't mind. Like I said, it's always good to talk through everything. Sometimes you could just overcomplicate things, but let's get to some questions. I'm going to focus on NASDAQ tonight, everybody, so just deal with it. Bank of Japan at 8 Pacific. Let's take a look at this. Today is the 19th. Ooh, we do have some Bank of Japan. Interest rate 5-year and the 1-year. There we go. Actual was in line. Yeah, nothing crazy, right? Everything was in line. And then the rate decision is tentative. Monetary policy statement, that's going to come out a little bit later. Right at 2100 for me. I'm going to actually get in if we get through that. Let's take a look at some other markets while we wait. Gold selling off a little bit. We haven't talked about gold, so let's talk about gold. I'm going to watch this position, and then I'll bounce back if you see it. Yeah, let's talk about gold. This is an hourly chart on gold. You can see there's let's do a brief summary, I guess. We had this nice flagging pattern. We broke through. We broke out of it. We rallied up to 2,600 even. We sold off. Obviously, the news caused a lot of volatility. It actually came to an amazing buying opportunity where we just, you know, if we were brave enough to buy that dip, and we are right back holding above 2,600. And so the question now is, do we find an area to pull back to get in long and see if we could break out above these highs? 26.17, 26.18. It's pretty obvious that gold is in a bullish trend where we could very well see continuation of this trend. It looks like the high of the FOMC volatility in gold is what, 26.27? So yeah, that could be a target. That could be a target for some longs. Today was quite the move. I'm just looking through. I haven't seen gold for a while. Yeah, I'd be okay with a nice breakout trade above this. Looking for higher lows, looking for a breakout to the highs, and that was quite the move off this sell-off. Was this that? Yeah, this was overnight too, right? There was a lot of move overnight during the London session. London session, D probably had fun yesterday in the London session with all the volatility she had. And then to the New York session, we didn't really move too much in the New York session. But yeah, you know, that's going to be something to pay attention to see if we do break through these teens and if we can get a move. But I do see a big contract that just came through. See that big contract? 127 contracts at 2610.3. That's interesting. 126 contracts looking to sell it. Let's see if that gets filled. Tipping its hand. 2610 failed. Tipping its hand. Let's see how gold reacts around there. And I'm watching my NASDAQ trade. I'm watching the P&L, see how that NASDAQ trade's playing out as well. Let me know if you guys see anything too crazy that happens. It is slow market, so I'm not expecting too much, but looks like that contract's getting filled. That big order is getting filled right there at the 2610s. At least some of it did. It's the moment I get in. Sometimes it feels like that, right? As soon as you get in the trade, then it reverses. Well, 26.10 no more. Interesting. Yeah, gold's bullish. For me, it's the same, right? Looking for areas to buy. Maybe we look for a test of some type of support. I could see us coming back down to maybe, 2603s, 2602s, 2600, just like 20,000. Big round number. Market likes to hang around big round numbers. As you could see, 2600 is just that here in the gold market. 2600, and you can see tested it, broke through, tested it, broke down, tested it, and it's been chopping around. And look how nice that is, right? We broke through, came back, 2600, broke out. Do we come back down and test it again? Wouldn't be surprised. So it's gold's choppy. That's it. Gold's just choppy. I'm not seeing anything too clear. Or is it just me? Is it just me? Gold's just really choppy. I'm going to go back to the NQ trade. Let's talk about NQ. MNQ, actually. Risking 100 to make 600 based off of this setup. And I like that. That is something I might be okay with, just letting this one run if we can get it in it. That's this is almost a 7-to-1 trade. Yeah, this will be about a good 6-to-1 trade if it plays out if it works, right? The question is that realistic, or if we should have a wider stop? Anyway, let's move on to the next. Nikkei. How about that Nikkei trade last night, everybody? Do you guys remember Nikkei? Nikkei paid me. That's where I made my money on these XFAs was Nikkei. That's where I made 10,000, 2,000 times 5. So that is where I made the money last night. I mean, I went through it pretty in depth last night. You guys got to watch it. I was doing it in the slow market like practice account, but then I also did it on this express funded account. Yeah, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We broke through this. In case anybody was wondering, Nikkei is the Japanese market. So NKD, Japanese market, we typically see a little bit more volatility at this time because the overseas markets, international markets are open. Asian markets, Japan, all that, they're all open. So we're seeing a lot more volatility. We typically see it. Anyway, last night was a pretty simple and straightforward trade. We broke through this resistance, and then we was looking to break through this 37,000 level. Once again, there's that round number, 37,000. That's the round number here in this market. And we broke through, consolidated a little bit, broke out, came back, tested it. Oh, man, this was such a picture-perfect trade. I loved everything about it, right? Broke out, come back, test that level, test resistance, and then just a big run. Like that was as good as it gets in terms of a trade setup. And yeah, this was another overnight trade where I ended up holding it. Last night, if you did catch the stream or rewatched it, this is where we were. We were here last night. There was the nice, huge breakout. There's the pullback. And you guys watched the slow market stream, and it was very slow. And I ended up taking, I think it stopped me out here. I think I did end up getting stopped out either here or here. But then I woke up. I had a buy limit down here on these XFAs, and I didn't catch this entire move. I only caught a piece of it. If you guys remember, I was looking for, I think it was 580. Let me look at the hourly. I remember it was like 580 or something. Man, it's kind of weird how sometimes these levels play out pretty dang good. Yeah, 580s. We broke through this 37,000. The first level I was looking for was this, right? Where we had seen some consolidation there. 580s, 37,000, 580s was that. Then the question was we going to come up here and test this? This was a stretch. This was a stretch target where I was like, can we see that? Is it possible? Sure enough, here we are tonight. And yeah, there we are. We came up and hit 37,000, almost 900. So this was support. Support became resistance. And where are we tonight? I think it looks like more of the same, right? Where higher low, higher low, higher low. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. Are we going to break through this? If we break through this, are we going to see another breakout trade and see if we can make a run for 38,000? That's possible. Let me zoom into the 5-minute chart. What's so good about Nikkei? Nothing so good about Nikkei. I don't really recommend it to newer traders just because it's $25 per tick. But D sounds like D trades it, and it's the Japanese market. We see volatility. It's the Asian session. It's slow markets, and we do see volatility. You can see that even here tonight, right? Where we've went from 37,600 up down. I mean, we're seeing some volatility. It's going to be interesting to see how we play this. Are we going to have another breakout trade if we break through this resistance and see that next round number? The next round number, 38,000. Yeah, that was a good breakout trade last night once we finally did get through that. Very basic, simple technical analysis. I don't talk about Nikkei very much, but then when it does start to move, I will talk about it, and I will trade it. Bank of Japan rate decision tonight. Yeah, so that's obviously can bring some volatility into the Nikkei. So that's something to be aware of. I think we did talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to be in a trade. You can. I'll just be careful. Whenever there's news like that, be careful. Sometimes it's better to not be in a trade when there is something like that coming. What are we waiting for in the U.S.? What are we waiting for? I'm not seeing anything. Nothing. There's nothing the rest of this week, right? Am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. There's not anything tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Capital Preservation Friday. Is that what we're calling it? Yeah, be careful. Don't. I strongly suggest not to trade the Nikkei. It's okay to follow it, unless maybe if you are going to want to trade it, if you're going to want to trade it, do it in a practice account. John Hoagland, expiration tomorrow. There you go. Yeah, I'm long the micros. Long micros. Trying to build a position. Build a position into a long. Just like we did last night. I didn't build a position. I held a position last night over. I held a long last night, and it paid really well. So, yeah. Hassan Hope. Old Dakota was never bothered by the news. I mean, the news is going to do what it does, right? And, if you are in a trade, I will always recommend closing a trade, especially during major events. Closing trades, not holding trades into a major events. Trust me, I have experience doing that in a negative way. John Hogue, looking forward Coach Jay and I will be on for Fast Markets. It's going to be a good one. Hogue, are we going to have another trade? We gotta get some green on Fridays. Fridays has been not a great day historically for myself and my trading, and for the fast markets, but who knows? Tomorrow could very well be that day. We have a chat that we're in where me, Hogue, and Coach Jay and the team. I message. I'm like, let's do it. Let's have a great day. And it seems like each time we've said that, or each time I've jumped in and said that, we've struggled. So maybe I'll have to say something else before the start of fast markets in the morning. Maybe let's just go in and process over profits. 50 contracts, ZN short. We still have not got into a 50 contract trade. I thought Wednesday was going to be the day that we could build into a position. Nope, we didn't. If we see another trade setup that's like that, I'm going to be saying 50 contracts, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I really, if we do see a trade setup that was similar to the one we seen on Wednesday, I'm going to be saying 50 contracts every single time. Man, I mean, we've seen it today. I think we've seen, you want to know what's funny about that, Hogue, if you're watching? what? It's kind of funny. We got that move last night after the market closed. So this was the ES. We were buying ES here, and we got stopped out. And then we tried to buy ES here. How funny is that? Sometimes it's weird how the markets work. We were trying to buy the ES here and ended up getting stopped out. And then we got this huge move and this huge rally overnight. And yeah, sometimes you could be correct about timing or correct about direction, but wrong about timing. So it's always that thing where you do need direction and timing. Always have to take what the market gives you, right, Hogue? Trying not to force anything. I mean, hindsight capital was on fire on that one. And here we are again tonight. This is just looking really, really good like a setup. And I might hold this trade overnight to see if we can get a nice breakout and a test up to these highs. But Richard, anything could happen. Anything could happen. Trust me. If I could, I don't even think it's possible for me to count how many times I've been so upset or upset at the markets because I think it was going to do one thing and it did the other. Like so many times. Like no matter how confident you might feel in a trade, the market will always make sure that you're humbled and you do not have that confidence. Market tends to do that all the time. It does it all the time for me. Nikkei long now. Okay, let's do some Q&A. Let's do some Q&A and move on. I'm going to go ahead and expand that and let's get to some questions. Let's get to these markets. Let's talk strategy. Maybe we could talk some strategy and managing this trade. I'm risking 181, 181, 185, right around there. This, 20,020. I don't mind being stopped out. And if we do get to this nice round 20,000, I'm okay with setting it up again. Setting it up again, always. Yeah, good risk reward. And what's the reward? I'm looking for this 20,150. 20,150. So just over a 4-to-1. Just over a 4-to-1 risk reward. We'll see how it plays. This is one I'm going to hold overnight. I might scale out of it. Let's see how it reacts. But by the end of my slow markets class, I will have my stop loss where I want it, and I'm going to turn my computer off and go to bed. And we'll see where we're at tomorrow. Thomas Quinn, chicken or the egg first? Manage risk. Yep, managing risk. Any questions? Any questions of what I've went through so far? Am I worried that we haven't moved through 47? No, it's slow markets. I'm perfectly okay if it's slow. Only add when our green or break even. Yeah, I love to add when the market's going in my direction or when it's in an area or a zone that I am looking for the market to reverse. You could do both. We're here at Topstep, and some traders say dollar cost averaging. I say scaling in. To me, the proper way it's called scaling in. It really is. You have a zone, and we're looking for a zone. And when the market gets to that zone, you want to get into a position. Rewatch Wednesday during Power Hour. That's exactly what I'm looking for, where the market gets to an area that we want, and we have a position size in mind. The question is, will the market allow us to get into that position size? Will the market just completely sell through it? The market will always do what it wants. So maybe it doesn't. Maybe you just get into 5 when we get into that zone and you get stopped out. Wednesday, I think we got into 30. Even though we were looking to get into 50, we got into, what is that, 60% of my position size? Yeah, no moron trades. Yeah, there's a fine line when it comes to moron trades and scaling in. Moron trades would be if the market starts to sell off, you just buy some. And then if it sells off some more, you buy some more. And then you buy some more, and then you buy some more. And you don't really have a plan. You don't have a plan. So for this trade in particularly, I started out buying and my stop loss was right here. And I was okay if it kept going down. I kind of wanted it to get to 20,000 and give me a good price and get some more contracts right here at 20,000. But then if it hits my stop loss, I was out. Now we're starting to consolidate a lot more. And so I moved my stop loss up here. And if it starts to go in my direction, yeah, you can see I have a stop to buy some more right there at 47.25. Might even continue to buy some if we go through. Sometimes what I like to see is if we break out and then we come back and then we retest this level and then we look for another breakout. Sometimes I'll even add on, say, the second breakout. I might even add on some type of reversal right here on the retest. Like, there's so many ways that we could manage a trade on getting in and getting out. Yeah, browser. So I don't like the words DCAing. That's more of like a stock investing term. But yeah, you're scaling in with a stop loss. That is very reasonable. With money management in mind, you know exactly how much you're going to be risking. You say, I'm looking to get into X amount of contracts. This is my stop loss. And if we break through this, the trade is invalid and I'm out. That's it. Yeah. I mean, it's okay to, I mean, I don't know if you want to say it as a feeler. But as soon as I started to see hesitation is when I first got in. And what was it? It was right there at 20,030, right? Let's go. Let's see. 31, was that it? Yeah, it was right around 20,031. Am I looking at the right price? Yeah. I mean, yeah, 20,030, 36, 36, 31. So yeah, started down here and then adding as it goes in my direction. But it's slow markets. I'm not expecting huge moves. As you add, do you move your stop up? Shapeshifter, yes, you very well can. I do that a lot. If we start to break out, then I'll move my stop loss up. So originally my stop loss was down here. It was down at 961. As I started to add, I moved my stop loss up here because it was too much of a risk, right? Because I only like to risk $375 to $400. That is way more than what I'm willing to risk. And so as I was adding up here, then it gave me an opportunity to move my stop loss tighter, manage risk. You know, we was talking about that a minute ago in chat. It's cheaper just to get out. If this trade is invalid, you know, get out. And then if it sets up again down here in the 20,000, I could get back in. It's cheaper to get out and back in than to hold and wait and hope that it will reverse. So hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and I might jump into one more right here. I like that. I like that rejection. Hopium kills. Oh yeah. There's a lot of sayings regarding hope. A lot of sayings regarding hope. Let's see if we could find some buyers. Took a long time before I learned that. Yeah, you guys see, if you watched, and I think if you watch any of the streams on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, you've seen how crazy the market could be. It was really choppy. It was roll. We had the FOMC that everyone was waiting on, and I got chopped up a lot. You could see I was in, I was out, I was in, I was out, and it just time and time again, the market proves that it's cheaper to get out and then get back in when it sets up again rather than waiting. Yeah. If a stock is below VWAP and below 20, would you buy it? Backly, it depends. It really depends. It depends on so much. Let's get to a couple more questions, and I think, I think this is just the setup. I know though he's looking at something for crude oil. I was okay with maybe looking for a long on crude oil. Yeah, let's do this. So this is something, and let's talk about this trade setup. Crude oil, and the more I look at this, it's a little bit scary here. Look at this. This is a major support, and we've seen that in the daily that someone said shout out, looking at the higher time frame. But we've rallied up. This was a key area of resistance. And yeah, is this resistance going to become, or this was a key area of support. Sorry, support. So this was support. And will this support become resistance? I don't know. It seems like there's a chance that we could have a bit of a pullback. And now, if this is resistance, we don't want to be buying up here, right? We don't want to be buying into this resistance, even though we could break through it and rally up. I would much rather wait for a pullback, wait for the market to hit some type of support. Whether you're doing it based off of a trend line, maybe we could get down here towards either $70 a barrel or lower. I'd love to see $70 a barrel and find an opportunity to buy it around here. So waiting, being patient, sometimes in the light of slow markets, where there's been a lot of times where I can be okay with saying, yeah, if we get down to, say, if we see 60, let's say if we see 69.90, I'm going to just do a buy limit. So there's times where I set up my slow markets trades saying, if we get down to 69.90, if we sell off, come down here, I'm going to put a buy limit. And then I'm going to have my stop loss, somewhere below that. Say I get in a buy at 69.90, I'll have my stop loss at, say, 69.10, and then to take profit if we can get back up to a nice 1-to-1 risk reward. Maybe we even get back up to 71. So just like last night, where I was looking to buy as the market's going in our direction, like the NASDAQ or the Nikkei, a buy stop, you could also do a buy limit at areas of support and resistance. I don't like doing it on the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ could be very volatile and just move sporadically. I really liked doing it on crude oil in the direction that the crude oil is trending, and it's usually to the long side, as long as we have our stop. Like I said, once again, risk management is always key. I'm going to continue to look for slow markets trades, every slow markets class. We'll see if we could find some. We could talk through them. This would be one of them that I'm not too great on putting this one out there. Yeah, I think I'm just going to focus on this NASDAQ trade. I'm in. Oh, it triggered me into another one, huh? We're in 5. We're in 5 now. Let's take a look. Nice and slow, right? Stick to your process. Don't let anybody else's opinion affect your process. Close. Do I have that crude trade on? You guys, chat has saved me so many times. That's why I love you guys, because you guys have saved, everybody in the chat has saved me a few times. All right, here we go. Let's see what we could do. Let's see what the market could give me. Risking at 244 to make about 1,300 if we just went straight up, right? But I'm going to watch and see how we react here. There's now an argument to just move my stop loss tighter. I don't want to move it to this because there's a lot of wicks right here in these 32s. I still like this as a stop loss, but let's watch this. We still have about 10 minutes. I like to hold a position overnight, but I want to be getting into a good location. Let's just see how we react here. Let's see if we could find a true breakout, or if this is going to be another candlestick. We could even zoom in if we want to see it a little bit better. One thing to note, that this is times 5. So I'm technically in, what is this? I'm technically in 3 minis. I'm technically in 3 minis. 6 times 5 is 30. So I'm technically in 3 minis. So I might be okay with tightening my stop loss up sooner rather than later, and then letting the rest run into tomorrow. See if we could get into a good position and then close off 1 or 2. Yeah, maybe close off 1 or 2 if we get up to here. I'm going to go ahead, sell limit. Okay, got to make sure I'm pushing the right buttons. So if we get up to there, I'll be okay with selling 1, selling a couple. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. I like that one. But slow markets. Anyway, yeah, I took drawdown. I think I took $20 worth of drawdown or $30 worth of drawdown. I don't know, whatever that comes to. But that's the beauty of getting into a trade and scaling as it goes in your direction, right? When you get into it and you add when it's going into your direction, you don't have as much drawdown, right? Where's the weekly kickoff high in the NASDAQ? Okay, and let's do this. Hoag's testing it. I know how we could find it. Hoag asked me, where's the weekly kickoff high? Well, let's take a look. Do we do Topstep indicator? Oh my. Right up there. Hoag, was that in there before today's session started? Because if that was, that was an absolute killer level. Now remember, everybody, I don't look at these levels as exact. Andrew, yeah, that was. See, there's another shout out. Like, that is the beauty of, wow, they're calculated on Sunday. Amazing. Yeah, look at this. Yesterday's high. These levels are nice. I tend to watch them a little more than what I have been, but these are not exact. These are not signals, right? These are not signals saying sell if it touches there or buy if it touches this one. I look at them as more of zones and areas of interest, saying if we get around this zone, then there's a possibility that the market can react a certain way, whether it's reversing or whether it's breaking out. That is absolutely amazing. A weekly kickoff level, and we hit it on the first day of the week. The market's crazy today. Let's take a look. So yeah, maybe we could even have some profits up there. I wouldn't mind holding a runner. I mean, I actually like 90s better. Yep, everything is a zone. Yeah, so far so good. This breakout's working pretty well and scaled into it nicely. It's not really giving a pullback to add to it. So what I'm going to look for is maybe we get some type of a pullback and then a continuation and an area to limit risk, right? I can make an argument to move my stop loss to this, but then look at all these wicks over here on the left-hand side. Like that's a mess of, support. So is it going to be worth having my stop loss there, or is it going to be worth the extra, what is it, like $40 to move my stop loss just a little bit lower? And that's where we start to really dive in depth, right? Is risking 160 or 120? So is that extra $40 worth it? I don't know. You never know until you analyze the statistics. But yeah, I would say I'd love to have my stop loss below this support rather than, could you imagine having your stop loss here and the market come down, touch it, and then reverse? We've had that happen before. Hogue and I, we had a stop loss in, and it came within one tick, turned around, and we made like 10,000. That was a crazy experience. All right, 8 more minutes left. Any more questions while we finish it up there? Can you explain the rollover for new traders, please? Yeah, so future contracts, they expire, and every expiration, we have to move into the next contract. So, for example, we just rolled over from the U contract to the Z contract, and the volume switches, and typically you would want to trade the contract with the most volume. Yeah, Hogue, that was absolutely fun. Process over profits, right? You guys are, yeah, this is not a scalp, everybody. This is not a quick in and out. This is my first area that I'm looking to take profit. I'm looking up here. I'm looking at these 150s, maybe even, I'm going to move this up to these 90s. Yeah, this is not a small trade, anybody. This is one where odds are I'm going to hold this overnight. Is that a scary word to everybody? I'm curious. Is that scary? When someone says, I'm going to hold this trade overnight, how does that make you feel? I'm curious. I'm really curious. I do. Yeah. You never know, Ellie. Nothing scares you. Yeah. Well, nothing scares you, Hogue. You were yeah, I always hold positions, not always, but I hold a lot of positions overnight. But yeah, process over profits, always. Makes you feel like you're not sleeping well? John, only your wife. I mean, that's what the goal of slow markets is. Okay, if you guys joined me last night, I said, let's all place this trade together in a practice account, just like a teacher, right? How a teacher does a math problem on the board and has the class follow along. That's what I want to do, is this exact thing. Like, not this one, but there's going to be trade setups like last night where you can place trades and just place it in a demo account. If you're scared or if you're nervous, not really sure, you can place that in a demo account and practice and gain that confidence. The platform that we use is the tool, right? You have to have confidence in the tool, which, how do you get confidence? Practice. You practice to gain that confidence. And maybe it's just I've lost so many times, and maybe I'm just so used to it, it doesn't affect me anymore. And part of it could very well be, are you trading too big? Are you trading too big of a position size? More often than not, I find traders are trading in too big of a position size. That's usually what it is. Trading in too big of a position size. Then they can't sleep, or they are hyper focused on the P&L. Because switch to a micro, and trust me, you'll see a big world of difference if instead of trading a mini, you trade one micro. If you trade one micro, you're just not going to really care. Maybe that's the wrong word, but you're going to care a lot less on what happens in terms of the dollar amount. And then maybe you could start focusing on the process over profits. I was having a conversation with a couple traders in Discord today, and they were saying the same thing. They're like, wow, I was trading in my practice account, and I made like $10,000 in my practice account, and then I try and do that in my XFA or my live, and I can't do it. I struggle. And I said the only difference is the psychological side. It's all mental. It's position size. It's because you don't really care what happens in your practice account, right? You could care less. You place the trade and you follow the process. And like, oh my gosh, I'm trading so amazing in my practice, but I just can't do that in a funded account. And there's no difference outside of just the mental side. I noticed I had my stop loss up here when I hurried and moved it down there. Let's see. We're seeing volatility. Did we get the Bank of Japan? Did Bank of Japan announce anything? Oh, I just typed in. Let's take a look. Nikkei's not moving. Not much Nikkei's going on. Did I miss something? We're seeing a little bit of a spike in volatility here. Okay, so here's this. Now what I'm seeing. Yeah, Hogue. Risk changes everything. Even when you change from an XFA to a live account, it's still money that you're gonna you could take a payout from, but it just changes. It's mentally changes it. But here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Here we have a pattern, right? This is a nice pattern now. We're gonna do a little bit of hindsight capital. And this is what I was looking for. We have a breakout. This breakout was pretty dang big. And then we have a pullback. We have a pullback to test that resistance. This was resistance. So far, this resistance is becoming support. And so now, let's see if we can get that continuation. Typically, I would either like to add on the test of this breakout. So this was the resistance. This is becoming support. So typically I'd like to add at the support on a 3-bar reversal or some type of a technical pattern, or I could very realistically add as a break above that. Yeah, so each is good, but this is kind of a big move. So I'm not going to add. I mean, that's a lot more volatile than I expected. So I'm not going to add. If anything, since this is the nice support and resistance level, if we get continuation to the north, maybe we get back up and start making new highs, then I could move my stop loss up. I'm actually liking that level. I'm gonna move that up a little bit. So if we do get continuation, then yeah, I think I'm gonna move my stop loss to like right there. That just lock it in, and I'll be okay with holding that one overnight. Let's watch this for a minute. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I know it's 9 p.m. already, but let's see how this plays out for the next minute or two. You vampires. Let me know in the chat. Am I missing something to see this spike in volatility? I don't think it is. Maybe we're still just waiting for London to open. Not seeing anything in the Nikkei. Let's take a look at gold. Gold's not, they're just kind of trending up and to the right just a little bit. Let's pop back over to the NASDAQ. And let's just watch the NASDAQ for a few minutes. Yeah. This is fun to watch. Yeah, I don't feel like... Are you guys getting value from this? I'm curious. And here's the thing. It's the same thing. Every single night, you guys see me do the same thing, right? Get into the same trades in the same way. Moving my stop loss in the same way. Moving my take profits in the same way. It's the same thing every single night. So sometimes I feel it's super boring, and I'm surprised that it's entertaining for some. Like, and I ask myself that, and I ask everybody, like, is this really entertaining for some people? Like, it's just trading. Money gets people excited. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. A few more minutes. Let's see. This is I would really like to. Last night's trade didn't work out in front of everybody. I waited till after I closed the stream, and then we just completely ripped up, and I made that $10,000. Tonight I'm up. I'm up about 1,000 now. So remember, this is copied by 5. I'm about 1,000 on this one. I really like to see a breakout so I could move my stop loss and be okay with turning my computer down or computer off and let this one run. TopstepTV and slow markets became your daily routine. Love to hear that. Love to see it. I know myself and everybody I talk to at Topstep is just, they love it. They love everybody. They love the community, and the dedication that I see is second to none. So let's go that. I'm going to go ahead and move my stop loss as we get this breakout. Let's see if we can get it now. See some momentum. Are we going to see momentum come into effect on slow markets? We did for a minute, but let's see this. Let's see it play. Now, if I see hesitation, I'm going to just get out of one. If I see any hesitation. So I'm going to play this by eye as well, just seeing it. I'm going to get out of one, actually. I'm going to get out of that one. See if we can have some follow through. Oh man, I never get bored from chat. That's a fact. All right. So I'm locked in most of that. Let's see if we, man, how's this for a trade? See, now going back to the question at the beginning of class is, why did I not wait? Okay, that's going to be the question. There's going to be a lot of people saying, I'm going to wait until 20,000. So there is a good example of why sometimes I do not like to wait for the market to get to a level, because sometimes this happens. It's like, okay, I'm going to wait and see if we can get there. However, price is king, right? Price action comes first. Even though I want the market to come down here, trust me, we've seen it a lot of times on fast markets while we're waiting for the market to come to us, but then it doesn't. It almost does, and then it turns around and we're like, dang, we missed it. And I think this is another good example where waiting is good, right? It's okay to wait. But then if the market's telling you different, the market's saying, hey, you know what? I'm actually consolidating now, and there's a chance that the market's going to start to turn around now, then, okay, I'm like, well, I'm not going to wait. I'm willing to risk a little bit now because the market's showing me these breadcrumbs saying, oh, we might turn around, and, I'm like, okay, I'll risk a little bit now. And then as it starts to, gain confidence, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to risk a little more. As it starts to go and starts to reverse, I'm like, a little more. I'm like, okay, I'm in this one. Let's see where we go. And then we start to break out, and I'm like, great, that was a great trade. I'm glad I didn't wait because I would have missed out on this move. But sometimes it's okay to miss out on a move if you really have your plan, right? Your plan is, I'm going to wait, and if we don't get this price, then that's okay. Not taking a trade is very reasonable. And yeah, here we are. I might. This is an interesting level. We didn't break through that, and we did reject off those 70s a lot more than I wish we would have. A break through this is going to be nice and clean. If we break through that, I could see a lot more upside. How do we play this one out? I didn't. See, here's another good example. We are getting quite the pullbacks. Not going. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. We'll see where this one. I'm not 100% decided of whether I leave this over the entire position overnight. I might close out another one or two and leave 1 or 2 micros to run overnight. Like I said, trading small, it's not about the profit. This is not thousands and thousands of dollars. It's more about the process. If you can make $100, yeah, if you follow that same process over and over again, that same process to make $100 a day is the same process to make $1,000 a day. That being said, I will catch everybody tomorrow morning, and I will see you, Coach Jay and Hogue, bright and early. You guys coffee, and I'm trying to stop drinking energy drinks, so maybe I can have a hot chocolate. So until then, everybody take care, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.